Hi, this is Tony Harris Taylor with the Drastic Results with Tony Harris Taylor show, and I'm just making sure my phone's on silent. It is. And so I have today a guest and an author in the Viral Networking for Drastic Results book, Mrs. Debra Field. Welcome, Debra.
Good morning. How are you? I'm so nice to be here.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. So if you don't mind, you're a client of mine, but I love for my clients to introduce themselves. So tell us, who are you and what do you do?
Has the chaos of child misbehavior or sibling rivalry overtaken your home at some point? What I specialize in is partnering with parents to draft personal blueprints using proven techniques that will restore their family peace. You don't have to continue to live frustrated and embarrassed because of your children's sassiness and acting out at home and school. I'm Debra Field. I'm the founder and CEO of Conscious Parent Blueprints. My passion is working with parents to expand their consciousness, build a plan, and parent with ease. You will learn how to calm yourself so you can console your child, connect deeply with them so you can communicate easily, and become much more comfortable with your children and improve their conduct and cooperation. A peaceful household is possible when you change your parenting.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. As you can tell, she is working on getting her elevator pitch and who she is and what she does. You know, my only question to you is, do you work with sibling rivalries that are 50 plus years old? Because if so, I might be able to hire you. My brother and I are still rivals, so we could have used you when we were kids, and then that way we probably would have resolved that by now. I love my brother. Shout out to Larry. And so, but Debra, you restore peace and calm to households.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's a big deal in a very technology-driven, parents are working, kids are all over the place. That's a very important business that you are in. So tell me a little bit about your story and how you came to want to make this a business.
Well, for myself, I walked what I teach others now. And mine began one morning. I had worked all night. I'm a nurse by first trade, my first career. And I had worked all night, and I came in and was tired, was exhausted. My 1-year-old, my 3-year-old were tugging at me, wanting mom's attention and all. And all I could think about was, let's get breakfast done, get to the daycare so I can get some sleep. And so I really had my focus more on my checklist and what I needed to get done and where I was. And so when we sat down then to eat breakfast, my 3-year-old reaches across the table like many of them do, but in the process, he spills his milk. Mm-hmm. All I could think of was, this is another thing for me to have to do. And I didn't want to do it. And I got really ill with that child, and I pushed him back, and I really pushed him harder than I meant to do it. Mm. And when I saw that big crocodile tear in his eye, and I looked down and I said, my gosh, what am I doing? I had grew up in an abusive home, and I'd always said I wasn't going to do that to my children. And so most of my life, my parenting was focused on doing the opposite of what my parents did. So anyway, I reached out to a friend about what was struggling with and all. And the friend introduced me to some help to deal with parenting and learn more about parenting. And there was, I learned so much about it. I learned that I couldn't give apples if I only had oranges, and so my efforts in being a better parent I had nothing else to do. I had no other skills, no other abilities. So through the process, I learned how to be there emotionally for my children and how to connect deeply. I learned how to communicate on their level and what appropriate expectations were for them at whatever age they were at. Because before that, I always thought they were little adults and they should behave as adults and be like adults. And they were punished if they weren't. So through all of that and learning what was the normal behaviors and how I could respond to that in healthy ways, and learning about being an emotional parent, not just a physical guidance in their lives. And it just made all the difference in the world for me and my children. And we just grew much closer and they were much more well behaved. And I learned the difference in punishment and discipline. And that's a big deal. You know, what I had done to my son was punishment.
Right. Right.
But what I need to help him clean it up, show him how to correct his mistake. And that would have been discipline. That would have been teaching and guiding. So, you know, there was just a lot. That's kind of how I came to be.
I love it. And I love that you took your pain, your mess, and you turned it into something where you could help others because you feel the same pain.
Yes.
And I know you really want to see that cycle broken. The other thing I heard in your story is you had to get help. You couldn't even do it on your own because you couldn't see. You couldn't even see what was happening. You knew it didn't feel right.
Right.
But you had to get help.
So many of us parents, we do that. We unintentionally adversely affect our children because we don't even know we're doing it.
Right.
No.
We don't know what we don't know. And you mentioned you were abused and you were raised in an abusive home. So that's all you really knew. Right. And so you knew you didn't want to repeat the cycle, but you felt it was coming back up for you and you asked for help, which is key. Well, you asked for help to grow your business by getting into my coaching program.
Absolutely.
And I think
one of the best things I've done.
Say that again.
It's one of the best things I've done.
Oh, thank you.
I really like your program, and it breaks it down very simple and very step-by-step, easy to follow and understand.
Awesome. I didn't solicit that, y'all. So thank you for the genuine feedback. I do appreciate that. Well, one of the things I talk about is networking. And I met you because you heard me speak. You showed up to an event and then you said, I'm in. You came to the Viral Networking Conference. So was that the beginning of your networking or have you always been networking for business?
A little backstory for me is having been burned as a very young child, over 90% of my body, people were never nice to me. People were a big fear for me. So networking has been one of the biggest hurdles for me to overcome in my business because I have to put myself out there. I have to find my voice. I have to stand, let people know that I know what I know.
Yes.
And so that's been one of the biggest struggles has been getting out there and networking and meeting new people and, standing in my own power. That's the way I like to put it.
Absolutely.
And when I went to your I first of all listened to you do a program in another program. You talked and did a webinar. And I thought, I need her. I need that support in that networking, and I need to learn how to do it successfully. I was doing it some prior to that, but I wasn't really speaking my voice. Okay. I wasn't, standing out with my business. So
is it safe to say you hated networking or it was just uncomfortable?
I was very terrified.
Terrified
of networking.
Okay.
I was terrified of people. I was really scared of people.
Are you getting more comfortable?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So, and I love that about our community because they're drastic. All of them are drastic, but they just kind of, it's a sisterhood. It happens to be all women. We don't only work with women. I don't only work with women. It happens to be all women, but it becomes a sisterhood. Would you agree?
It is, absolutely. It's just like one big family. I call it one big family. Yeah. And now, with questions and things come up, I just, put it in our little Facebook group and see what happens out there.
Yay. So now virtual networking, because of the pandemic, has become much more popular. And so what tips do you have for someone who is networking virtually?
When you engage with someone on the network, ask a question. That's usually the best way to get them to engage with you and to talk back with you and take the conversation from there. But
I love that. I don't think you learned that from me, because I don't know that I taught that, but I love that because people love to talk about themselves. And the first one to ask the question wins, because you get the other person to start talking. Yeah. And virtually, especially if you get in breakout rooms, that's a great way to get people to engage with you. So I love that response. Ask a question. So I know your driving force to becoming an entrepreneur was, your past, the story you told earlier. But listen, you could take that same passion and get a job, right?
Well, I did nursing for 28 years and loved it.
Okay. Yeah. And entrepreneurship's not easy, right?
No, not at all. I have one phrase that keeps me going sometimes when it's that really difficult time, and I'll say, I can do hard things. I can do hard things.
I can do hard things. And you know what I would add to that is, if someone else can do hard things, so can I.
Yes.
Because we're not the first one to create anything here. And if other people can do it, then why can't I? They're no more special than me, right? So this question is, what's your key driving force to staying an entrepreneur, especially when things get hard? Not throwing your hands up and saying,
improving our world through happy children. I really feel if we can give our children a really happy foundation, and I call foundation from gestation to 7 years old, if we can really get that deeper parenting and successfully and give our children that, because it just builds their confidence, their self-worth, their self-esteem, and they feel safe in the world. Yeah. And they can make it a better world.
Yeah. One parent, one child at a time.
Yes, one child at a time.
I love it. Tell me about a time you didn't really want to show up and you pushed ahead and you're glad you did.
Networking. Going to the viral network thing, because I knew I needed it, but I didn't want, that fear, that terror, and I finally said, okay, this is a safe place to push through this.
Aww.
So that's one of the biggest times, yeah.
And it is changing the game for you all around. So thank you for that. The Viral Networking Conference is every November. And so I'm not sure when you're going to view this, audience, but regardless, you can go to theviralnetworkingconference.com and see when the content for the next upcoming conference. I need to start putting up that registration page because it was life-changing, not only for those who are in the coaching program.
Right, but for me who didn't get to join the coaching,
they are still benefiting. I'm getting messages and I'm seeing them partnering with people online. It's a beautiful thing. So don't miss the Viral Networking Conference, and thanks for showing up. I appreciate you. That's the key. We have to show up when we don't feel like it.
Yes.
And that's the best time to show up because something magical happens when you show up and you don't feel like it.
Right. It's kind of like you get a reward.
Yes, you get a reward. I love that. You get so God gives us a medal for showing up. You meet that person that can change your business. You meet your next friend, partner, collaboration, a referral. Something happens, especially when you show up and you don't feel like it. So thank you for that. I got to get you to Houston. You already said, I think you said, I want to move to Houston.
Right. I never thought I would want to move to Texas, but this sisterhood makes me want to.
Well, already mark your calendar so you can make plans. I know you're a caregiver too in your journey as an entrepreneur, which makes it 10 times harder to be an entrepreneur. So my hat is off to you, but go ahead and start putting your ducks in a row so you can come in person this year.
Yes.
Okay. So you already told me about some of the challenges you have with networking. And so now I know you're getting over the fear of showing up. What other challenges do you have? Now that you've shown up and you're in the event, then what? Right? So what other challenges have you had when it comes to maybe turning those contacts into clients or referral sources?
Developing the content, actually sitting down and writing out the content. And, and thanks to the sisterhood, we have someone there now that can help us, we can reach out to for copywriting and that kind of thing. It's nice. So
how does content fit into networking? The audience may be asking. Well, when you go to a networking event and you put a business card in someone's hand, they are not ready to refer you or do business with you in that instant.
Right.
So content keeps you connected to those people so that when they are ready or that it reminds them to refer you to people in their network. So content's a big deal, and it's probably one of the most neglected pieces of networking that our
doing those follow-ups with emails and things like that, reaching out. Sending a postcard, the old-fashioned little postcards that says, hey, I really enjoyed it, thank you, or something.
So networking, social media is a form of networking.
Yes.
And you've been stretching yourself in the area of social media, ma'am. And I really admire you and congratulate you for being drastic. You did a whole video challenge, came from the sisterhood, and you jumped in as uncomfortable as it was for you. And I really want to congratulate you on that. But how has social media helped you, even though I know you're just now getting momentum there, how has social media helped you with your business?
How has it helped me networking? I've met some of the best friends there through our group. And the thing is, I think after I met you, you broke networking down into such simple things and simple ways. And so now when I think of it, I don't think of it as just business. It's about finding these people and making friends and finding out who they are and how they got where they're at and what's their life about. And that just, to me, made it much easier to think of it as just building friendships.
Absolutely. And so on social media, you may see somebody and you take those conversations offline by saying, inviting them to a Zoom chat. Hey, I see you online. Let's get to know each other. Let's hop on Zoom and see what you're up to, what I'm up to, and let's see how we can help each other.
Right. So
coffee chat. And then, I saw a post the other day on Facebook that said, stop doing coffee chats and start doing sales calls.
Oh, no.
That's what I thought.
No.
And I really had to come back and evaluate what I teach, because I do teach the coffee chat. And it made me pause and say, is that the case? Should people not be doing these coffee chats?
No, I
And
think when we're serving others, we won't have to worry about our needs being met. If we're just building friendships and serving and being there for others, we won't have to worry about a sales call.
thank you. Plus, sales calls, people are not open and receptive to you picking up the phone and trying to sell them something, but people are very open and receptive to let's just get to know each other.
Right.
Now, often my coffee chats do convert into NIA members or coaching people or people who come to my events because I'm going to tell them who I am and what I do. But if I lead with, I want to sell you something, people aren't attracted to that.
No.
So the coffee chats take the pressure off. That's the other thing. People are not going to want to meet with you if they think you're going to try to sell them something.
Right. And they really need to get to know us and see what we're about to be able to trust us enough to join whatever we're doing or, our programs or whatever.
Absolutely.
Or to trust us to guide them with their precious children or something,
Absolutely.
That's asking a lot of somebody.
I agree. So thank you for confirming that I'm still on the right track.
Yeah.
So now, what mistakes have you seen, and it may play into what we just talked about, other entrepreneurs make when it comes to networking?
I think it's just passing out business cards and collecting business cards. And I think it's better to have as you say, our phones in our hands and ask them, hey, when's a good time that we could get together to really talk and get to know each other? And go ahead and just get it on that calendar.
Get it on the calendar. Because when you book a date with somebody, it can move. And what's so interesting is I got called on the carpet for that the other day. I met somebody, it was like I had to go. And she would not let me go without booking her. She wouldn't let me go without booking her on the calendar. I was like,
that hurts.
I know. And this was somebody I had met brand new. She didn't know that was my philosophy already. And when she said that, I was like, yep, you are absolutely right. Get it on the calendar. And so I paused and got it on the calendar. But you're right. The biggest mistake is that they take these business cards and nothing happens. They don't call you. You don't call them. So yes, getting it on the calendar. And probably every one of these interviews that I'm doing, it is just that. I mean, it's consistent theme. So do it, everybody. Do it. Okay. So let's see here. Besides booking appointment on the calendar, give me another networking tip that you have found to work.
I think know what you're looking for when you go to the networking event. Be really clear about your niche and who your clients are, but go with an intention of learning something. Know what it's about. Go with an intention of bringing something back. If it's just meeting 3 people or if it's just meeting one person, whatever. But just know when you go, your purpose in going.
Excellent. Know your target market. Yes. Many people hate networking because they're not networking in the right places. So know your niche, where they are, and can they afford you? That's another thing. Right. So excellent. Awesome. So when I say my saying, show up, be up, follow up to blow up, what does it mean when I say show up, what does that mean for you?
Go. I'm just going to put it simple. Just go. Just be there. Go.
Absolutely. And it's more than just going. It's yes, you got to go. So, but if it's virtual, you got to put your camera on.
Right.
You got to fix your hair, fix your face, put your earrings on.
Well, to me, that was the show up part. I mean, be up kind of thing is the dressing and the, get your energy up and dress up and look good, so.
Yeah, they go hand in hand for sure. Yeah. So just go and don't talk yourself out of going.
Right.
Many people talk themselves out of going and they miss out on their blessing. So, what besides booking appointments on the calendar before you leave, which is the best strategy for following up, what's your second best strategy to follow up? So, go ahead.
For me, is to have things already marked out on my calendar after the event, so that when I come home, I can just fill them right in. And so I've got it on my calendar and I've got it ready. And many people will just, have like emails scheduled to automatically go out or something. I like to make them a little more personal and really connect with that person. So that's kind of my thing.
Okay, very good. And describe to me, and I know you're in the infancy, to use a child term, of your networking and being a part of my community, but describe up to now how your networking has gone viral.
Well, I'll be honest, my calendar was pretty full last week. For instance, I needed to be writing my biography or whatever for my website because I've hired a girl to do that. And I had so many networking people, one-on-one calls and trying to get to know everybody, that I really didn't get to that. And so I've rearranged this week. This week is my work week. But it's fun.
So suffice it to say, because you're also a Network in Action member, so suffice it to say that you are networking now more than you ever have.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
And I introduced you to another networking group that's focused on speakers. So one of the things about coaching with me and networking with me is I share all the networks I know of. Yes. I'm teaching you techniques, but what good is it if you never go to any events? So I introduced Debra to a great network where she will be able to get on podcasts and be able to share her expertise about parenting there. So excellent. So what's your favorite quote for your business? And then if you have a quote for networking, and if you don't, that's okay. But what's your favorite quote for business?
Well, my quote for my business is change the world by changing your parenting. I just, I really believe we can change that world if we can change that.
I agree.
So, but networking, build friendships. If I really had to say something, just build friendships and let the rest take care of itself.
Absolutely. Thank you. My one client said, it's funny, she said, I don't need more friends. And now she is preaching friendships through networking and how it changes the game.
Yes.
So awesome. So what final thoughts would you offer entrepreneurs who are hesitant to network?
Or hesitant to what?
Network, get themselves out there.
If you want your business to be successful, you have to network.
Period.
That's it.
Yeah, the bottom line is
business is in networking.
There is business in networking. And the bottom line is if you're not going to make cold calls, you're not going to knock on doors, and you're not going to run expensive ads, your only option is to learn to network.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Debra, I want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts around networking and introducing your business. If you are a parent or a grandparent and you have challenges at home with your children, we would love for you to reach out to Debra. Debra, would you please give your contact information?
Yes, they can reach me at Debra Field 4, the number 4, at gmail.com, or they can call me at 615-957-4819. And I'm got a website in the process, so we'll get that URL out there shortly.
And Field has no S, right? So
Right.
Debra Field. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Debra, and we look forward to you changing the world one child, one parent, one family at a time. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Tony.